Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. Well, I'm quite excited about this watch. This is a Phoibos Voyager. It is a beautiful looking watch, and I'm quite excited to give you my first impressions of it today. Now, you would have seen the sponsored icon come up. Now, I did buy this watch, and I actually bought this watch secondhand. So you may think, well, why is it sponsored? Well, I was able to get it at a really good price from somebody locally here in Australia, and that's because it had a little bit of an issue. One of the screws inside the bracelet had actually snapped off, and I contacted Phoibos directly on their website. I explained the problem to them. I explained that I'd bought the watch secondhand, and I told them that I'd do reviews on YouTube, and I'd really like to show this watch off to the best of its ability. I then said I'm happy to buy a new part, but it would also be great if you'd be willing to sponsor the video by supplying the part for free. And they got back to me straight away and said, hey, we're just happy to give you the part. We'll send it in the mail to you now. What's your address? So it's going to be a sponsored video from that perspective. But either way, I think this is an amazing watch, and I'm going to give you my first impressions of it now. And I can also say to you, my first impressions of the customer service is absolutely fantastic. So let me stop talking. Let's flip the camera around, and I'm going to show you this Phoibos Voyager. So I have had this watch for a little while, but there was an issue with it which has now been resolved. It's been sitting in my drawer waiting for me to be able to resolve that so I can bring it out, have a look at it, and get our first impressions for you. And I think this video here is going to be a lot of gushing praise about this watch because it looks and feels, and I think it is rather amazing. And let's talk just quickly about the packaging. It is fairly well known if you've watched any videos about Phoibos before. This is the packaging they come in, and I think it's just about right, especially at this sort of price point. It's good, it's nice, it's something a little bit different, a little bit more than just a basic box, but they haven't spent a huge amount of money making something particularly special, nothing too out there, and that's about what you want. You want something that's good, something that's interesting, something that protects the watch, but not so much money that it takes away from the watch itself. Come with a few bits of documents. You've got an international warranty for 2 years, which is fantastic to see. Nicely made book and a nicely presented watch. And I can certainly say now that although I've seen many videos about this watch brand and even this particular watch model, which is the Voyager version 2, it does not show off exactly how great this watch is in real life. I certainly thought that's a nice looking watch. I looked at pictures, looked at reviews, looked at videos, but now that I have it in hand, I think, wow, it is much better than I even expected. And let me just show you over some of the features which really stand out to me straight away, and that was my first impressions of it. Obviously, that dial is the first thing that pops out to you. That lovely green sunburst, but that also has that 3D effect. And I have to say that 3D effect is actually a little bit more significant and special than I thought it was. It's a little bit deeper. I sort of thought maybe it was just little light lines, but it's actually got quite a nice 3D effect to it, which really gives a bit of depth to the dial. And you can see with those very interesting applied indices, it really adds to that. And there's almost like a shadow under them because of that 3D dial on that watch. It's got the King Octopus on the dial, which I think is a great logo. I really like it. It may not be to everybody's style, but I think it's really cool, very interesting. I think it's a great logo to have gone with. Has a really nice bezel. It's like that Yachtmaster sort of effect, a very 3D effect to it. Has like a sandblasted or a little gritty effect in between, and it has a lovely bezel action. Nice and firm, lovely and crisp, really nice sounding, really nice feeling, and there is zero movement anyway. There's no black pay. Absolutely fantastic. No complaints about the action or the feel of that bezel. Another thing about that bezel, which I quite like, is these little markers that they've added in to the edge, just to break up that coin edge, which then sort of lines up with the numbers that are on the bezel themselves. Obviously the handset's also quite nice, and it matches in quite nicely with those indices. Also like how they've put the date window down at the 6 o'clock. Really fills out the dial quite nicely. And very nice finishing to the case as well. You have this nice polish with a bit of brushing on the top, and I really like the style, how they've done that. They've transitioned around the circular style of the dial. And this bracelet is very nice. You've got a solid end links, a very nice feeling and looking bracelet, and this wonderful clasp. It's a really good clasp. I'm quite impressed by that. And on the back of the watch, we have this amazing, very deeply etched King Octopus, which I adore. I think it's amazing. I really like it. I really like a nice case back, and this is probably one of my favorites that I've come across. You'll also see on the clasp we have the King Octopus And I think one of the best features of this watch is the wearability. I say this a little bit with a few watches that I come across. This particular watch, it just sits and feels and looks good on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. It's a lovely sized watch, really nice, fits me perfectly. I'm quite impressed. Okay, so that's enough gushing praise. I haven't found anything negative about the watch yet, but this is a watch that I am going to wear, that I'm going to enjoy. And when I do give it a full review, I really want to go into quite a bit of detail about it so that you can really fully understand how good this watch is, how good value this watch is. I may even do some slight comparisons with some other watches around that same sort of value. And if there is anything negative about it, I'm sure I'm going to pick that up over the next couple of months of wear. Great, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your support by watching my videos and subscribing. I'll see you around.